Hello. We want to talk to you about something that KPU can do right now to help meet some of its ambitious climate change targets. We want KPU to electrify its fossil fuel using machinery and to install charging infrastructure at all its campuses. Climate change is a wicked problem. In policy circles, a wicked problem is not just an evil dilemma. It is a challenge so incredibly complex that it needs its own classification. Typically, a wicked problem crosses whatever arbitrary boundaries human beings have concocted. Wicked problems have many moving parts and complex interdependencies. Often, when trying to solve one aspect of a wicked problem, other problems are caused. The solutions to such problems need to be equally complex, multi jurisdictional, and interdisciplinary. Wicked problems require many people and organizations to be working on the various aspects of the problem to have a chance of success. We know that on-campus EV charging and electrification of the KPU fleet will not completely solve the problem of climate change. It can, however, be a highly visible step in the right direction.
I have been an EV enthusiast and advocate for years. I enjoyed researching and experiencing the technology. I've driven numerous models for both long and short trips and understand the key advantages of EVs. I dreamed to own an EV, but since my apartment was built before the building code required the capability for charging installation, it is impossible for me to install an EV charger at home. For me to be able to own an EV, I would solely be dependent on public chargers.
I love electric vehicles. I love driving them. I love owning one. And nothing is better than high-fiving my wife as we drive by a gas station. I could spend all day talking about the benefits of EV ownership. It feels fantastic to be part of the solution. KPU has installed Level 2 charging at its Richmond campus, and Level 1 options do exist at the Surrey and Cloverdale campuses. KPU is to be applauded for the ambitious targets it has set as part of its overall climate action plan. KPU 2030 and KPU 2050 are broad and impressive plans to make the university a leader in their community. There's talk of an EV repair course being developed for KPU. Already, Kwantlen is dipping its toes into the river of progress. The plan to install level 2 and 3 fast chargers has been laid out and costed by an engineering firm, and while the cost is high, it's time to take the plunge. We want KPU to electrify its existing fossil fuel burning fleet, including farm machinery and shuttle buses. To help power this fleet, we would like to see Kwantlen install adequate EV charging infrastructure at all its campuses. This is an opportunity to be a leader and to make bold, visible progress. We can involve students in the construction and maintenance of these initiatives and produce a new generational learning opportunity at KPU. Finally, we would like to see our university and the provincial government put its money where its mouth is.
One of the ways that KPU can reduce their emissions is to electrify their fleet. With the fleet needed for various needs, electrifying the fleet can meet the needs for KPU and reduce emissions. Electrifying the fleet is more of a possibility with mainstream and upstart manufacturers coming out with commercial EVs soon. Ford would be a great partner as they have both electric pickup trucks and commercial vans. An advantage for electrifying the fleet is that generators aren't needed to power tools or provide emergency powers as the EV battery acts as a big backup battery. Jason and I found that SFU was lacking in infrastructure as we noticed there was only one public charger that was built and maintained by the university. In addition, we found the charger only had 2 ports, so it could not meet the demand of 4 EVs parked in the vicinity of the charger. We found that BCIT had much better infrastructure with multiple conventional and fast chargers, and BCIT had a solar roof and backup battery to power the chargers.
What could KPU look like if we instituted bold, institution wide action? We could have solar power banks shading rows of EV charging stations. We could have students learning how to install, operate, and maintain electric vehicles and their supporting infrastructure. With both the federal and provincial government going all in on EVs, now is the time to develop the training programs that will provide the jobs of the future and make Kwantlen the go-to place for students looking to be in this emerging industry.
EV charging and the subsequent demand for EV usage will be one key way to reduce emissions while helping to meet the transportation demand for the KPU community. We recognize that EV chargers for private vehicles is not the only solution and will be one of the solutions along with EV car sharing, high quality public transit, the existing KPU shuttle, cycling, and walking.
If KPU is to meet its own self-imposed goals of reducing emissions 50% by 2025, then drastic action is necessary. We know the cost. We have the reports. It's time to put the consulting engineer's report into action. One of the most visible things we can do is electrify every piece of machinery that KPU owns. We are dealing with a wicked problem, and there's no magic bullet that will deal with all aspects of climate change. There's no one policy or one idea that's going to win the day. Right now, we are stuck in a paralysis by analysis loop. If we continue to sit on our hands and ask questions while the world burns, we risk having nothing left to save. This is but one suggestion and one policy. Is it perfect? No, but it's far better than doing nothing. We have the answers we need to get started. All we need is the fortitude to put our common welfare ahead of our bottom line.